Hey guys, and welcome to a new Zelda theory. Today we're going to be trying to figure out just who is the mini-boss of the Stone Tower Temple in Majora's Mask. The bat-covered dark demon man, known as Gomess. Before we can figure out where he fits into the Zelda universe, we first have to look at everything we know about him. To start off, we know that he's a demonic, ghost-like being who is defeated by using the light arrows. Alongside this, he's the mini-boss of the inverted Stone Tower Temple, a place in Termina that's otherwise cut off from living beings, and unable to be accessed without some form of flight, unless a hookshot and statues are used. As we know from the battle, Gomess doesn't really walk, but rather hovers over to fight. Because of these facts, we can quite easily assume that Gomess is not a living being, but rather a ghost or phantom. This is also confirmed further by his weak spot, a green orb that acts like a heart, and very closely resembles a Poe's soul, as depicted in Twilight Princess. Now you may be thinking to yourself, but aren't the phantoms in Zelda drastically different? Why wouldn't it have armor like the ones in Phantom Hourglass? Well, the reason why phantoms had such good armor in Phantom Hourglass was because they would take over the armor and use it as a body of sorts, which is shown to be true for all ghosts and phantoms in Spirit Tracks, where Zelda can also take over bodies of armor in her spirit or ghost form. However, the reason why phantoms and ghosts would take over bodies of armor in Zelda is because that's their only form of protection. Without a body to take over, stray Poes in Twilight Princess are left with their soul orbs out in the open, an easy way to take them out. And Gomess is no different. Due to his lack of a solid body, he has his green soul orb out in the open, a weak spot that's otherwise only covered by the temple's bad bats, which are essentially Termina's version of Keese, which is the reason why he needs to constantly call them for protection. He has no other body to work with, and Ghost's weak spots can be easily exploited otherwise. Okay, so now we've deduced that he's a ghost or a phantom of some kind. However, we can make a few more connections to dig a little deeper. If you look at everything that we know about Gomess, you'll find there's quite a few interesting connections we can make to another ghost in the Zelda series, Death Sword from Twilight Princess. Death Sword is the mini-boss of the Arbiter's Grounds, a dungeon located in Twilight Princess's Gerudo Valley, an area which is otherwise absent in Majora's Mask. Already we can see a few comparisons that can be made. Both are ghosts that are mini-bosses in dungeons known for their undead enemies and sand-themed environments. Alongside this, they both have frail, easily damaged cores, which allow them to be quickly defeated with arrows or any form of sword. Also, even though Gomess is known for frequently using bad bats to cover up his soul orb, Death Sword actually has something tying into that as well. If we look carefully at the cutscene that occurs after defeating Death Sword, you'll notice that his body doesn't just disappear like every other enemy. It blows up into, you guessed it, bad bats. The same creatures that are always spawning from Gomess as well. Now these are quite a few things that they have in common, but if we look beyond what is simply visual and situational similarities, we can find something that may just prove that these two ghosts may not be different beings, but possibly the same entity entirely, albeit in different timelines. What I'm referring to is their names. While Gomess and Death Sword are different names, if we look at some of the different translations of their names, we can see that they may have been made to be similar characters intentionally. If you look through both of the ghosts' names in different languages, you'll find that in the French version of Majora's Mask, Gomess has the name Fancheur, which translates to Reaper, which further supports the idea that Gomess is indeed a phantom or ghost. However, upon researching Death Sword's name, you'll find that in the French version of Twilight Princess, Death Sword's name is Fancheur. So both of these mini-boss ghosts not only reside in sandy dungeons and are closely related to Bad Bats, but even share the same name. Is it possible that Death Sword is an alternate timeline version of Gomess? Or could Death Sword be Gomess after being defeated in Majora's Mask, coming back to fight Link again, or at least who he thinks is the same Link, but this time just as a spirit that can only be seen with Wolf Link's senses. It wouldn't be the only tie-in between Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess. There's a multitude of evidence pointing towards the conclusion that Twilight Princess is post-Majora's Mask, most notably the Howling Stone at Death Mountain, which contains the Song of Healing, as well as the Howling Stone at Lake Hylia, which contains the Goron's Lullaby. What do you think is the relationship between Gomess and Death Sword? Do you think they're related at all? I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments, so feel free to discuss this further, and maybe even point out things that you think I might have missed. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this theory, and I will see you guys next time! Bye-bye!